Hello, everyone. And with me today, I have a very special guest. It is Harrisburg Police Commissioner Carter. Thank you for being here, first of all. I know you're very busy right now.
It's my pleasure, man.
Okay. And, one of the things that I really want to talk to you about, and it's one of those protests in Harrisburg. Like, the picture of you defusing the situation in Harrisburg has gone viral. I don't know if it's gone viral beyond Harrisburg, but it's definitely gone viral in the Harrisburg area. And it's just so powerful. Like, is that something that you just instinctively do as a police commissioner, or is it just because of your love of Harrisburg? Like, where does that come from?
That comes from my love of people, period. Um, Everybody has the right to be heard. They have the right to protest in a mannerly fashion. There's a lot of anger, and rightfully so, anger that what we all witnessed on national TV to Mr. Floyd, by the Minneapolis officer, and I don't know of any officer here in Harrisburg who does not feel the same way that I felt, what in the heck is going on there? That shouldn't happen. Someone please knock that officer off that man's neck, because that was just atrocious.
Yeah, I think Ava DuVernay actually said it best. Was it is so jarring, that video, because she said we saw both faces right in our face in the frame. One man was taking a life and one man was begging for his life, and it wasn't a split second police decision in that respect. It was 8 minutes and 46 seconds of a
Yes,
decision.
yes.
And I think that's what hurts so bad.
That hurts so bad, because police officers make 100 decisions in a matter of seconds. But that was 8 whole minutes and 46 seconds that, the officer, and I don't know him. I never held conversation with him, but, that was a decision that he made right then and right there, that he was going to do this, and he continued to do it. And I don't understand what his reason was.
And it's a criminal decision. Do you not agree?
I do, I do, I do, because it's just no explanation for it. Having someone beg and plead for you, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And at the end, he's calling for his mom, and the other officers are standing around, watching it. I understand that there was a rookie officer there, and I understand, that even he spoke up and said, "Hey, man, what are you doing? Let's stop, let's stop, let's stop." But the impact that it had, because it was a crowd of people witnessing it, and then they. Due to social media, every cell phone has cameras and recorders. It just went viral right away, and you just can't explain anything like that. It's just no way. So.
And so the pain of not only the Black community, but of every person who loves people, as you put it, is prevalent. And that's why the protests are impacting. But protests in other cities have gone violent, really destructive. And in Harrisburg, it started to get that way 2 Saturdays ago. And I think that you were a big part of diffusing that situation too, because we had the one incident with the brick in the windshield. Everybody knows about that. But then there were pictures of you standing between the officers in the bunkers and the protesters without any protection, other than you just being you and reaching out to people. And I think that was powerful.
Well, thank you, but it was not only me, but there's a lot of good people in the city. There were a lot of people on the other side protesting, and they were telling, most of the crowd, we're not here for this.
And I saw
We
that
want to
too.
be heard. We want to be heard. Let's do it peacefully, because, there's power if you do things in a peaceful manner. When you start introducing violence and smashing out windows, burning down buildings, then your message is completely messed up. What is the real message then? And the message, was that what happened to Mr. Floyd isn't right. And it wasn't just, that Black Lives Mattered, but it was everybody who witnessed it, that everybody felt the same way. So, and that's power. There is power in unity.
And what do you think the solutions? A lot of people are calling for reform and defunding the police department. First of all, can you explain to me what defunding means? It's not necessarily, I guess, disbanding the police department, from what I understand, but it's also just rebuilding it as a public service aspect, which I personally thought it already was.
Well, most of the cry is defunding the police. I believe that they're talking about, just taking money from the police and putting it into the neighborhoods, community things, while helping out with social services and different things like that. I don't think it's a good conversation to have, but the conversation that I would like to have with the public is, a retraining issue, because what you saw, what a million people witness is a training issue and retraining the police and legalizing use of force standards. Because, I can speak for Harrisburg. Harrisburg is an accredited agency. We were nationally accredited, and now we're state accredited. We fall under PLEA Act. And we're governed by MOPEC. So, we have standards when it comes to the use of force. We have banned the chokeholds and blows to the heads over 20 years ago.
Okay, that was going to be a question. That was a question of mine, because a lot of, in fact, I think many cities are now banning the chokehold, and that's something that Harrisburg has already done.
It's been over 20 to 25 years that we banned that stuff because we're accredited. We have to go into the accredited standards. We have agencies that come here and look at our policies and say, no, you have to change this here. This is not in line with the times. And I'm just taken back by how many agencies aren't accredited, but there's nothing saying that you have to be. But I feel that when it comes to the use of force, especially the use of force, especially the use of deadly force, I think that all police agencies should be under the same umbrella nationally. I think it should be a national standard that states that when you reach this criteria, and then you can use force. But you have to meet A, B, and C. I don't think that any agency should be different when it comes to the use of force.
That is interesting, because I had no idea that not all police departments had to be accredited. I just assumed, I guess, and that is an assumption. You know what happens when you assume, but that's interesting. I had no idea. Maybe that is one of the changes that need to be made.
Yes, definitely so. Because when you look at police agencies, a lot of us look like military. Walk around in the BDU pants and the outer jackets, the bulletproof vests, and different things like that, with all kind of gadgets on them. And you look like that you're going into battle, and that's not a good look to the general public, because they still view us, or they want to view us, as public servants. And does a person that comes to answer your call, or to answer, your needs, and you see that they're a militaristic looking officer, then, you disconnect right away.
Yeah, it's almost like, they're going in with worst case scenario in mind. And a lot of times cops do have to, have that at the top of mind, but you're first and foremost, your thought should be helping the people that called you to be there, and figuring out the problem.
Yes, because the most powerful thing that an officer has is officer presence. So when you get out of the car in BDUs and outer bulletproof vest, now I understand the officers, because you carry more equipment on your belt and what have you, but however, it makes you look like a soldier. It makes you look like the military. So officer presence, the first impression that someone gets is that, wow, did I call the police, or did I call a combat soldier?
Okay, so do you recommend, like, maybe downsizing on the equipment that they're carrying?
I recommend, that police agencies should start looking like police officers. We should go back into what we first started in, polyester pants, a more friendlier presence.
Like a more formal, like, I'm
Yes.
here to help you presence. I
Yes.
get that.
Yes.
Something else that came up today was Louisville Kentucky, the city council just actually passed a bill unanimously, and I don't know if they can or not legally, but they voted unanimously to ban the no-knock warrant. And let me just give a backstory on the Breonna Taylor case. Breonna Taylor was an EMT in Louisville, Kentucky. They were serving a warrant on her house, and somebody in her house decided or thought there was a burglar outside because they had no idea they were the cops. And there was a gunfire shot through the window, and she was murdered or killed. Um, let me be clear, there's no charges filed against any police officer in that respect, but is there validity to the ban of the no knock warrant, and how common is it?
We don't have that here. I don't believe that DA Chardo would sign anything like that. I don't know of any Dauphin County court judge that would sign something like that without exigent circumstances. You know, we have the knock warrant. We always knock. We always, yell, police, Harrisburg police, or whatever police agency that it is. It's a unfortunate situation because I was just reading about her, and she was an outstanding young lady.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that she was into the medical field.
Yeah, she was an EMT.
Yes, and God love her because EMTs and police work hand in hand.
Absolutely.
So it was a tragedy, and I don't know why. And I'm not criticizing other states because we're not perfect here either. There are some things that we need to brush up on, but I don't like the no knock warrants, and I don't believe that our DA's office would ever sign something like that.
So you would support a complete ban?
Oh yes, yes. Yes.
So maybe, we've already touched on two things that can be reformed in the police. So maybe there is some room for change to help people feel more comfortable, which is what everybody's really calling for right now, which is, a plus side. And that to me is where people can learn, there is compromise here. It's not the police against people and vice versa.
There's always room for change. We're policing in the 21st century right now, and some of our policing ways are still back, decades off. And the key is retraining the way that police officers are trained when they get their certification. There should be academy standards, and we should go to sensitivity training. We should go to, how to talk to people, because just because somebody commits a crime doesn't make them bad because we don't understand the circumstances that drove them to commit that crime. So, it's not them against us, and we're not better than anybody, and we should not frown down on them, And, for the most part, I can say that all of the constituents that I have here, Chief Ryder, Chief Martin, all of the other police chiefs and commissioners and public safety directors, we all feel the same way. We all talk, we are here to protect the people, to serve the people. Now, are we always perfect? No. And will things happen? Yes, because we answer, I know I can speak for Harrisburg, we answer thousands and thousands of calls yearly. But you have to look at how many incidents that we have, that people actually complain. And then when they do come in here and complain, we investigate it, because we have standards here, we're accredited, and, they want to see the use of force. I want to see every use of force report that is generated by my officers. And if I find, that you're at fault, we do what we have to do. But there is a retraining piece to it. Not only is there a retraining piece to it, we send you to get a psychological to see if you're suited to be a police officer. Has anything changed from when we first hired you up until now? So, we work day in and day out, to meet the needs of the people. Are we perfect? No. Is there more that needs to be done? Yes.
I do have one more question. It just came out today also that Pennsylvania is one of 23 states that not, I mean, that doesn't have to disclose disciplinary actions of public employees, not just police officers, but all public employees. Now, is that another change that we could make to make that a right to know?
Well, that is something, that, I know our police union here, they believe in due process. Everybody is entitled to due process. And as long as we meet that standard, then they don't have a problem with it. That's an argument, that has to go between the court systems and the unions on what they can disclose and what they can't disclose. But I stand behind that. If a police officer, transfers to another agency, I believe, that there should be open dialogue between the new agency and the old agency. If the police officer was a problem child there, there's going to be a problem child here. I think it should be a national standard where, disclosure is made, so that we can make better choices on who we, bring on. I think, that when it comes to the screening process, the application process, I think that we need to change things. But that's conversations, that would have to come from higher ups and not just me, but
Right.
I know that all of the police commissioners and chiefs all feel the same way.
Now, one of the comments that I saw when I was watching the protest on live stream on Facebook was, people comment lots of things. But one of the comments I saw over and over again was the lack of minorities on the police force. Now, is that, I mean, obviously that's not done on purpose because I can tell your heart and I can tell that you are not, you would not discriminate. But is there, what causes that? I mean, there are a lot of white police officers and not a lot of minorities.
And
How do
there
we
are,
change it?
and there are, there's a combination of things. There's been so much distrust among the police in the Black neighborhoods, and I must say rightfully so, that parents not have conversations with their children about becoming police officers, because you can go back as far as the 1960s and you can look at the Chicago riots when they were sicking police dogs on people and stuff like that, people of color,
Mhm.
and because of things like that, or when there's a traffic stop here locally, how people of color feel that they're treated differently than their counterparts, and you can make a strong argument about that. And so that conversation isn't had in very many households about being a public servant when it comes to EMS, fire, police. Now you go to the bigger cities and that conversation is being had, because there's more people there. So
Right.
obviously the opinion is like different. But I know around here, we've tried and tried and tried to recruit people of color. Is that the end all, stop all answer to everything? No, but I believe it is a good start, because when it comes to policing, when people call the police, they just want to know, that a police officer cares. They want to know the heart of a police officer. It's like when you go to a doctor and you have to have surgery, you know, for most people, a doctor's bedside manners matters more than anything else.
Big time.
The way that they talk to you, the way that they make you feel. Because to be quite honest with you, you don't know if that doctor graduated at the top of his class or at the bottom of his class. But the only thing that you really care about is the bedside manners and the way that they make you feel, the confidence that they bring, and we care about you. And that's all that people really want to know. Yes, I hear you, I care about you, and we're going to make this better.
And that's why Harrisburg has had very peaceful protests throughout this whole thing. And hopefully they continue. And hopefully we will see change. I think we're all ready for change nationwide. Like you said, the blanketed accreditation, the transparency, and really just more police officers that care. That's
You
so
know,
important.
excuse me, but I feel that, that Harrisburg has great officers. We have a lot of officers here that care. I can't say that officers here don't care, but sometimes we get it wrong, yes, but we're working very hard to get it right. And with the leadership that I have here, it's just not me. It's just
I
not
know.
me. I have a whole team of people. It starts from the supervisors, the frontline supervisors, to my command staff, and to the rank and file officers, and God bless them, because they really care day in and day out. If you look at what Harrisburg city officers make compared to surrounding agencies, you would say to yourself, why would they want to stay here? Why do they want to be here? And the simple answer is because they care and they love their job and they love people.
And that is such a great message. And I hope the people of Harrisburg are listening to this right now and they are really receiving it, because I can tell that you mean it. And thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your busy week